What does it actually look like? Well, needing constant reassurance. You need him to tell you over and over again, I love you, I'm not going anywhere, I'm here with you. Or it can be feeling anxious when he's quiet or distant. You're wondering, is he thinking about her? What is he thinking about? Why is he not speaking to me? Hey beautiful, are you done with the pain, devastation, and overwhelm that marital betrayal has thrown at you? And you need a real roadmap to recovery. And you also desire to heal God's way. Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Lisa, a betrayal trauma and infidelity recovery specialist who went from being crushed and humiliated by my own husband's affair to a global sought-after recovery specialist, helping Christian women and couples just like you heal and recover from the devastation of marital betrayal, all while doing it God's way. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. So, grab your favorite latte, maybe a glass of wine, snuggle up with your favorite blanket on the couch, and let's focus on you right now. Let's do this, beautiful. Welcome back to the Beauty Beyond Betrayal podcast. Today we are going to be looking at something that, can keep you stuck as the betrayed spouse. There are 5 core wounds that are traumatic and can keep you in a place that you don't want to be in. Well, today, if you've ever said to yourself, I feel like I'm not the same person anymore. I look in the mirror, don't know who I'm looking back at. Why do the smallest things set me off? It used to not be that way. Or maybe you're thinking, I'm functioning, but I'm not okay. Well, today's episode is going to put words to what you're actually living. You see, sexual betrayal doesn't just hurt emotionally. It rewires how you move through daily life. It really does. And some of you are like, oh my gosh, she just put words to what I've been experiencing. Yes, I know, because beautiful, I lived it. And today I'm going to be breaking down for you the 5 core wounds of sexual betrayal, not as concepts, but as real life experiences. So you're probably dealing with these things every single day, and you didn't really know they actually were a thing, but today you'll be able to put that to rest. I'm going to also walk you through what real healing actually requires, because healing is not positive thinking. It's not time passing. I know we wish time would heal all wounds, but it doesn't happen that way. And it's certainly not about being stronger either. It's much deeper than that. And it is possible to heal. So beautiful, let's do it. Grab your notebook, grab your pen, grab your latte, grab a nice cozy blanket because it's January and I know it's cold. Let's snuggle up and let's talk about this so you can actually find out what you've been dealing with and see if you've actually been stuck in any of these things. Well, your first core wound that I want to talk about today is the wound of rejection. Yeah, I know, right? Some of you are like, oh my gosh, yes, I feel that. You see, in real life, rejection doesn't sound dramatic. It really doesn't. It sounds like I don't feel attractive anymore. I'm just not pretty enough. I compare myself constantly to the images that he was looking at or to the affair person. I assume I'm the problem. Maybe something's wrong with me. Or I pull away before I can be hurt again. That's how it shows up on the daily. And day to day, rejection even looks more like this. You avoid mirrors. You're like, what? Yeah, you heard me. You avoid the mirror at all cost because you look in that mirror and don't recognize the woman that is looking back at you. Furthermore, you're very critical of that woman in the mirror. Then there's the overanalyzing your body, your age, or your personality. Boy, did I do that one. I criticized every lump, bump, wrinkle, every little sag, every little stretch mark, scar, every gray hair, like you name it, I criticized it. I hated my body. I hated my age because, yes, the affair person was 15 years younger than I was. My personality, I started criticizing that because I'm like, well, I'm too outspoken. I'm too over the top. I'm too everything, right? So yes, I dove into this one very quickly. And then there's the feeling invisible even when you're not alone. You can be in a room full of people, but yet you feel like you're invisible, like no one sees you. And that's painful. Then there's the interpreting neutral moments as personal rejection. Maybe someone doesn't text you back immediately or call you back, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're rejecting me too, right? Well, that's the wound of rejection, and that's how it shows up on the daily. So this is a wound that convinces you that love must be earned and that something about you is inherently lacking. This was my number one right here. And this is a lot of number ones for many women who have been betrayed. And I remember going into that performance mode. I must perform in order to be loved. I've got to earn that love, right? Or, something's wrong with me. So this can be a huge one. Well, what does it actually look like to heal from this thing? Healing rejection means separating your worth from his behavior. Beautiful, did you just hear that? Your worth is not determined by his good behavior or his lack of good behavior, right? It does not have anything to do with it. If he's acting out, if he's relapsing, he's back in the porn, he is back with the affair person, your worth has nothing to do with his actions, not at all. And I had to really work through this because I was wrapped up in that. But I want you to hear me clearly. Again, separate your worth from his behavior. This is healing. This is how you heal the rejection. The other way is to rebuild identity that was shattered by betrayal. When you start to rebuild your identity, when you start to reclaim who you are, you find your worth, your self-confidence, your self-esteem, like all of that is starting to be rebuilt again, and your identity is sure once again. Well, the rejection gets less and less and less. Then there's learning how to self-soothe instead of self-attacking. Instead of criticizing yourself to death, you're soothing yourself. You're loving yourself once again. And then there's replacing shame-based narratives with truth. Instead of believing the lies that lead to shame, which shame basically breaks down to self-hatred at my expense. Think about that one, right? When you stop self-hatred against yourself and start living in the narrative of truth of who God says you are, then rejection begins to heal. This is not self-esteem work. Please understand that. This is identity restoration. And we go deep into that inside of my Roadmap to Recovery program because identity, your identity, has been attacked at the core through his sexual betrayal. The enemy wants to steal your identity from you because if he can steal your identity, then he can make you ineffective. So we go after rebuilding that identity very, very quickly. Once that is restored, it is amazing to see the turnaround for every woman that goes through that program. Now here's the second wound. It's called the wound of abandonment. And I want to tell you how it affects you daily. Abandonment usually shows up quietly, but very, very, very powerfully. It looks like needing constant reassurance. I need you to tell me you love me, that you're not going to leave me, that you're always going to be here. Then there's the feeling anxious when he's quiet or distant. Who is he thinking about? What is he thinking about? Is he going to leave, right? Panicking when plans change because, well, that leads to dysregulation. And then imagining worst case scenarios. Oh my gosh, I'm going to end up divorced, alone, all the bad things, right? Even when your husband stays, your nervous system learned, I'm not safe. Why? Because he betrayed you. So day to day, your body stays on alert. You may also find that you overfunction to keep the peace. You may struggle to relax. You notice your body's always tense. Or there's, you may feel emotionally dependent or emotionally shut down. And then also fear the future more than the past. So how do you actually heal from this, right? There's this abandonment wound. Well, healing from abandonment requires you to restore internal safety before relational safety can take place. So it's got to start with you. Your internalized work has to come first before you can restore it with your husband. Then there's nervous system regulation, not reassurance seeking, okay? You can try to ask him all day long, do you love me? Are you going to leave me? All of those things, right? Just to seek assurance. But it is not going to heal that abandonment wound. Your nervous system is dysregulated, beautiful. And in order for that to be healed, we need to heal your nervous system so it's regulated once again. Then there's learning how to ground yourself emotionally. We teach all of the somatic techniques that help you with this inside of our roadmap to recovery. And then lastly, rebuilding trust inside of yourself first. Yes, reestablishing that trust. So you trust your gut once again. You trust Holy Spirit once again. You see, you don't heal abandonment by clinging harder. You heal it by becoming intentionally anchored. All right, then let's look at the wound of humiliation. And some of you just went, oh my goodness, yes, that has been a wound. I have been so humiliated. Yes, I know, beautiful, because I was too. Humiliation is one of the most silencing wounds that you'll experience. It sounds like, I feel so stupid for not knowing. How could I not have known? Everyone must be judging me. I don't want anyone to know. What will they say? What will they think? Or I feel absolutely exposed. And in daily life, humiliation causes social withdrawal. You begin to isolate. You avoid church, friends, community. You have difficulty asking for help. And there's a constant sense of embarrassment that you live under. You may even carry shame that is never yours to carry. So when it comes to healing this wound, it means naming the shame and releasing the responsibility for it. Okay? You've got to name it out loud and release it to God. This is not yours to carry. Then there's restoring dignity through safe, honoring spaces. Right? You're not the one who betrayed. It was your husband. Then there's being witnessed without being judged. People need to see you for what's been done to you, not what has been that you feel like you attributed to the betrayal, because that's not the truth, right? And people who judge you thinking, well, what was lacking in their relationship? What didn't she do? Or what did she do too much of? That's judging, right? That's not what you need right now, because that adds more humiliation on top of it. Then learning to speak without apologizing for your pain. Beautiful, you are devastated and you do not need to apologize for that. You actually need to validate your feelings, and so do others. You see, shame dissolves in safe connection, not inside of secrecy. Okay, now let's look at the wound of betrayal and how it actually distorts your reality. Yes, this is the fourth wound. Now, this wound affects how you think. This is where you may start to question your intuition. Why in the world did I not trust my gut? Like I thought I had better discernment than that. Surely there were red flags. Why didn't I see them? You may also doubt your memory because, beautiful, you've probably been experiencing gaslighting and he's probably twisted some things. So for you, your memory now has been affected. And yes, betrayal trauma actually causes what we call trauma brain, and it does affect your memory. Then you feel disoriented or confused. Like I remember feeling just a mess in my brain. This is why we call it trauma brain. And you may also wonder if you can trust yourself ever again. This is where, in this wound, I hear many women say, Lisa, I feel crazy. Well, beautiful, this is what we call betrayal trauma. And day to day, it looks like obsessive thinking, needing answers in order to feel grounded, difficulty making decisions, second guessing everything, feeling like you are absolutely crazy, and you cannot locate things. You cannot make, normal day-to-day living in the norm like you used to. It is drudgery. It is so hard to get out of bed, take the kids to school, do laundry, do the dishes, think what you've got to cook for dinner. All of that is a debacle. It's total chaos. So when it comes to healing this wound of betrayal, it actually requires trauma education so you can understand what is happening to you. And we go deep inside of the Roadmap to Recovery on education with betrayal trauma, because until you understand what's happening to you, you can't heal from it. You cannot heal what you're unwilling to feel and what you're unwilling to face. So we help you do that. Then there is the reality validation, not minimization. So we don't minimize what we're going through. We don't minimize the reality of the betrayal. Unfortunately, we have to look that monster of betrayal in the face. We have to call it out, say it in truth. This is what I have been dealt. This is what I'm dealing with on the daily. We call it out so that we can heal from it. Then healing from betrayal requires rebuilding self-trust through clarity and truth and structured processing, not emotional flooding. So we help you process your emotions effectively so they can leave your body and not be housed there. Now, this one, the wound of betrayal, this is where most women stay stuck, because betrayal wounds do not heal without guidance and structure, especially from someone who is trained in trauma-informed work. If you just go to someone who does regular therapy, regular counseling, what have you, or just a regular life coach, well, you might be spinning your wheels and it might get worse before it gets better. You need someone who is trained in this so they can guide you and give you structure, a roadmap, so that you can walk step by step through it. All right, let's look at the last one. Number 5 is the wound of injustice. And again, this is one that can also keep you stuck. Now, injustice fuels the question, why do I have to heal something I didn't cause? Why do I have to do this healing work? That's not fair. And day to day, injustice looks like anger that resurfaces unexpectedly. Like you are angry that you are having to do this. You are angry that this has been done to you. And it becomes a cycle. Or resentment that won't go away. Then there's the feeling of powerlessness or feeling unseen. And then wanting fairness that seems to never come, because this is unfair. I want fairness here. I want justice. Well, unhealed injustice, well, beautiful, it hardens your heart. Not because you're bitter, but because your pain hasn't been acknowledged or integrated. So what does healing actually look like from this injustice wound? Well, it looks like learning how to grieve what was stolen from you. That's why it's so important to do a grief inventory and be able to walk through the grieving and lament process effectively. Releasing the need for fairness to move forward, because the reality is they can never undo what they did. And there's never going to be a fairness in this. And then there's processing anger safely, not suppressing it, right? Because sometimes, especially as Christian women, we can feel really bad about feeling angry. I'm not supposed to feel this way. I'm a Christian woman. I am so sinful. No. You just need to process your anger so that you can be angry and sin not. And then there's restoring personal agency and choice. Beautiful, forgiveness is usually not the first step. Grief and truth are. Then you get to walk in forgiveness. So real healing requires, if you're going to heal from these wounds, it requires, number one, trauma-informed support, spiritual grounding, a structured step-by-step guidance roadmap, a safe community where you're seen, heard, and understood, and tools that regulate your body, not just your mind. And that's what we do inside of the Roadmap to Recovery. And we are launching January the 12th. And you have the opportunity to grab one of the last spots that's available. You can heal from this once and for all, beautiful. You don't have to stay stuck. And it would be such an honor to guide you through this roadmap. I've seen hundreds go through it, and it has been such a blessing to hear the testimonies of women who have. And below in the show notes, there's an episode down there that you can listen to two women, part 1 and part 2, Krista and Jennifer. You can listen to their testimonies of how they received healing through the Roadmap to Recovery. I encourage you to go listen. It'll be life-changing, and it'll help you decide if you need to take that step. Because, beautiful, you have a choice. You can stay the same in 2026, and then 2027 gets here, and you're like, why didn't I do something? Or you can take your step today and come into this invite and finally heal from betrayal trauma once and for all. So, beautiful, go below in the show notes, click on Roadmap to Recovery, secure your spot today. So if you recognize yourself in this episode, I want you to know something. You don't need to try harder. You need the right kind of help. Again, Roadmap to Recovery, 6-month program, Christ-centered, trauma-informed, designed specifically for you because you're healing from sexual betrayal. We don't just talk about your wounds there. We help you heal them. This is not surface level healing. It's life restoring work. And once registration is closed, it won't open again until July. So, beautiful, what you're experiencing makes sense. And I know you have words to go with it today. Your reactions are not weakness. They are signs of deep wounds asking, begging to be healed. You are wounded, and wounds can be healed. And if this episode spoke to you, then do something about it today. And don't forget, please subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode. And share this out with another woman who may need it. Until next time, keep choosing your healing because you're worth it. And it also changes everything. Be blessed. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found hope, healing, and encouragement. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. You can even screenshot this episode. You can share it out on Facebook and IG stories. This is how we get the message of hope and healing out to all women and couples who are in need of restoration after betrayal. And if you're ready to move out of that devastation and take the next step in your healing journey, well, make sure to reach out. Schedule your coaching session today. Until next time, love God, live your life passionately, and always choose joy in the midst of any circumstance that you may face. Cheers to you, beautiful.